So in this video, we're going to cover the 5 best credit cards of 2023. A lot has changed this year, with many cards getting refreshed with updated benefits, which could be considered good or bad depending on your point of view. And I am super pumped to share this list with you so you can start to plan out what cards to get as we move into 2024. But before we get into the rankings, I want to mention a quick disclaimer about the cards that I'm about to discuss. It's always interesting when I make these ranking videos because, to be quite frank, it's purely based on opinion. And even though I put a lot of thought into this list, I realize that not everyone is going to agree with the cards that I selected. Even the title of this video is a bit of a stretch since my 5 best credit cards may be completely different from your 5 best credit cards. And so keeping this in mind, how did I go about selecting these cards? The simple answer is this. If I was to recommend a card to one of my friends knowing nothing about their travel habits, airline or hotel preferences, or even where they lived geographically, what card would that be? There are so many variables to consider when choosing your next best credit card, so a personalized approach is always going to be the best approach. Of course, I tried to be as objective as possible with these rankings, making sure that I chose cards that I think anyone could get value from since they all provide a lot of value with very little work. So with that in mind, let's get started with card number 5, which is the Citi Custom Cash Card. Now this card was ranked 5th in my top 5 video from last year, and it made the list again this year for very good reason. It continues to be the most valuable 5% card on the market today. The Citi Custom Cash Card has a standard welcome offer of earning 20,000 Citi Thank You points after spending $1,500 in purchases in the first 6 months of account opening. It earns 5x thank you points in a single category as shown on this list here on up to $500 per month, then 1x points after that. You can see that this list includes common everyday categories including restaurants, gas, and groceries, and this card has no annual fee. And if you pair this card with the Citi Premier card, you can transfer these thank you points out to Citi's transfer partners, giving you even more value on your points redemptions. Of course, there are other great credit cards that offer a 5% cashback bonus on everyday categories, such as the AAA Daily Advantage Card, AAA Travel Advantage Card, and the Bank of America Customized Cash Rewards Card. But the AAA cards aren't available to everyone, and to get a 5% multiplier with the Bank of America Customized Cash Rewards Card, you need to have at least $100,000 with Bank of America or Merrill Lynch. So even though these are great cards, the Citi Custom Cash is preferred for being more accessible. I also want to mention the 5% rotating category cards, such as the Chase Freedom Flex, since this is also a very popular card as well. In speaking to a lot of you through comments and direct messages, some of you love rotating category cards, and some of you don't. Personally, while I think you can score a great rotating category in a quarter, you're always at the mercy of the credit card issuer on how you should spend your money to maximize that quarterly 5% multiplier based on the categories you're given. And for me, I want a stable credit card setup that I can get reliable and consistent value from without having to figure out what quarter it is and what the categories are for that quarter. And again, that's just my personal preference since I like to get the most amount of value with the least amount of work. So this leads us to card number 4, which is the Wells Fargo Autograph Card. Now, full disclaimer, this video was recorded before Wells Fargo announced their travel partners for this card, which was set to release on December 10th. I had originally wanted to record this video after the transfer partners came out on November 15th, but, well, we all know how that went. And if there's any changes to the ranking of this card after those transfer partners come out, I'll make sure to leave a pinned comment down below to address it. But in any case, whether the autograph card gets good or bad transfer partners, you can't deny that it's still a very powerful card. The standard welcome offer on the autograph card is to earn 30,000 bonus points after spending $1,500 in purchases in the first 3 months. It earns unlimited 3x points back on restaurants, travel, gas, transit, popular streaming services, and phone plans, and 1x points back on everything else, and it has no annual fee. Another benefit that's nice on the autograph card is cell phone protection, getting you up to $600 of protection against damage or theft, subject to a $25 deductible. So this card, even without transfer partners, is a great card, and it's one of these cards that can get you a lot of value back on your regular everyday spending. And to really drive this point home, I always like to compare this card to the Citi Premier card. Just as a refresher, the Premier card has a $95 annual fee, but does get some very nice 3x multipliers in important everyday categories such as air travel and hotels, restaurants, gas stations, and supermarkets. So the 3x multipliers on the autograph card are similar to the Premier card with the exception of the grocery category, but it gives you these categories with no annual fee. The autograph card also covers the transit category, which is not covered on the Citi Premier card, which only covers a small subset of the travel category, specifically air travel and hotels. And now that the autograph card hopefully has transfer partners by the time this video comes out, this really brings up the question, is the Citi Premier card worth getting if the Wells Fargo autograph card can basically do the same thing for no annual fee? Of course, this is going to depend on what are the specific transfer partners, but like I said earlier, even without them, this card is a no annual fee points earning machine, and the addition of any transfer partners at all would make the Wells Fargo autograph card even better. But one downside of the autograph card is that it doesn't cover purchases at grocery stores, so it's important to have another card that can do that. Of course, the Citi Custom Cash Card is a great option, but what if you're using that card for another category? And this brings us to card number 3, which is the Capital One Saver One card. The Saver One card has a standard welcome offer of earning $200 after spending $500 within 3 months of account opening. It earns 3% cashback on dining, entertainment, popular streaming services, and at grocery stores for no annual fee. Of course, what really makes this card shine, specifically in 2024, is the promotional Uber benefits, including earning 10% cash back on purchases on Uber and Uber Eats, as well as getting your monthly Uber One membership covered with this promotion ending on November 14th, 2024. And one of the best things about the cash back that you get on this card is that if you have a venture card with Capital One, you can convert your cash back into miles at a 1-to-1 ratio. And once you do that, these miles can then be transferred out to Capital One's travel partners for maximum redemption value. So with that in mind, one question you have to ask is, what's a better credit card for the food category, the Capital One Saver One card or the American Express Gold card? The American Express Gold card has reigned supreme as the food card for a long time, and for a lot of you, this may still be your go-to card for all your main restaurant and grocery expenses. But both cards have great multipliers on that food category, with 4x points back on the Gold card and 3x points back on the Saver One card. And let's not forget that the Gold card has an annual fee of $250 compared to the Saver One card, which has an annual fee of $0. Now, we all know that the Gold card has 2 monthly statement credits that can bring that effective annual fee down to just $10, but dealing with this monthly credit for many years in a row can get pretty frustrating. Not only this, but the Amex Gold card earns membership rewards points, which is one of the most valuable flexible point currencies, but it can be tricky to redeem these points for maximum value. On the other hand, cashback from the Saver One can be redeemed for 1 cent per point as a direct deposit or statement credit, or, like I mentioned earlier, can be turned into venture miles and transferred out to Capital One's travel partners. So since the Capital One Saver One card can get a great multiplier on dining and at grocery stores, as well as other popular everyday categories, and it can do this for no annual fee, in my opinion, this is the better card for most people, but as always, your mileage may vary. Now, the Capital One Saver One card is a great card on its own, but to unlock its full potential, it should be used along with a Capital One Venture card. And this brings us to card number 2, which is the Capital One Venture X. This card has been a top pick since it first came out because it has a great balance between cost and value as an entry-level luxury travel credit card. The Capital One Venture X has a standard welcome offer of earning 75,000 miles after spending $4,000 on purchases within the first 3 months from account opening. The card comes with a $300 travel credit, a $100 global entry or TSA PreCheck credit, and 10,000 miles every card member anniversary year. It earns 10x miles on hotels and rental cars booked through Capital One Travel, 5x miles on flights also booked through Capital One Travel, and 2x miles on all other purchases with a $395 annual fee. This card also has extensive benefits, including access to the Capital One lounges for you and up to 2 guests, access to Capital One's luxury hotel collection, which is called the Premier Collection, Hertz President Circle status, and primary auto rental collision damage waiver for rental cars. So you can see how much benefit you can get on this card for just $395 per year. But if you fully value that $300 travel credit and 10,000 anniversary miles valued at $100, you can come out ahead positive $5 just from these 2 benefits alone. And when paired with a Capital One Saver One, this Capital One Duo can get you a lot of value from your everyday spending with this 2-card combo, effectively paying you $5 a year to use this setup. Now, I do want to briefly mention the Chase Sapphire Reserve and the American Express Platinum cards because these are great premium travel credit cards and they certainly have their place in the ecosystem as well. But I think the Venture X is a card that everyone can get value from, especially when it comes to airport lounges. Capital One has done a great job opening new airport lounges this year, and at the time of recording of this video, there are lounges in 3 major US airports by Capital One: Dallas, Denver, and Washington Dulles in DC. And so this brings us to the top card of 2023, and this card is one of the most innovative cards when compared to its other peers. It's the only card on this list that I currently have, and once I started using it, I understood why it's such an amazing card, and this is none other than the Bilt MasterCard. We all know this card as a card that earns 1x points back on rent up to 100,000 points per year, and there are so many ways that Bilt has made this accessible no matter what type of renter you are. Of course, if you rent from a property in the Bilt Rewards Alliance, that makes things pretty simple. But if not, you can pay your rent online by providing a routing number and account number attached to your Bilt MasterCard, or even send a check to your landlord by mail. And if you don't want to have your entire rent payment taking up your credit limit, Bilt offers Bilt Protect Debit, where they will debit your bank account for your rent payment, and you can still get 1x points back on your rent anyways. But of course, there's more to the card than just that. This card has no annual fee and gets you 3x points back on dining, 2x points back on travel, and 1x points back on everything else. Now with the points you earn, the best redemption method is going to be using Bilt's transfer partners. And Bilt continues to add more transfer partners, most recently Marriott, to their already stellar lineup, including partners like American Airlines and World of Hyatt. The card also offers special events such as Rent Day, where you can get twice as many points on the first of the month on all your purchases except rent, as well as exclusive events at restaurants, sporting venues, and much more. And if that wasn't enough, the Bilt MasterCard also comes with primary auto rental collision damage waiver, as well as cell phone protection. What continues to amaze me about this card is that it has so many benefits that you usually find on cards with an annual fee, but the Bilt MasterCard offers similar, if not better, benefits for no annual fee. And so this is why it's earned the top spot and is the best card of 2023. So those are my picks, but some of you may be wondering why cards from American Express or Chase Bank weren't featured in this list at all, even though both issuers have some pretty great credit cards. And this goes back to what I mentioned at the beginning of this video about how these cards were ranked. For Chase, the Freedom and Ink lines are all phenomenal cards, but with the exception of the Ink Preferred, these cards are meant to be used in a duo or trifecta setup if you want to take full advantage of the ability to transfer your points out to Chase's travel partners. Chase also has some great co-branded credit cards like the Amazon Prime card and the IHG Premier card, and these cards may also be a great fit for you as well, but this will depend on your individual shopping or travel habits. And as for American Express, in 2023, they've been doing some pretty weird things in the recent past. From putting a lot of people in pop-up jail, to suddenly changing their welcome offer terms, to raising their annual fees while splitting up annual statement credits into more frequent statement credits, American Express has, in my eyes, become a more restrictive issuer. While other card issuers have been innovating, American Express has just been doing their own version of that, which is raising their annual fees and then giving us more semi-annual, quarterly, and monthly statement credits, which in my opinion is not really innovating at all. So even though cards like the Gold card and the Hilton Aspire card could be great choices depending on your individual situation and spending habits, these aren't cards that I personally recommend to someone who wants to get value back in a very simple way. And it's these updates that have really changed the way that I view credit cards overall, including the best strategies to balance value and simplicity. And to see the 3 credit card lessons that I learned in 2023 and how these lessons can help you make great decisions in choosing your next best credit card, check out this video next.